Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the legendary Zeke. Zeke, tell them the name of the YouTube channel.
Yo, the name of the YouTube channel is The Happy Pill Project. If you're not following it, you slacking.
You're slacking. What do they need to do?
Follow, like, and subscribe, and share, comment, spread the word. Happy Pill Project. Let's go, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we start, if you've ever been in Middletown, New York, yeah, he's embarrassed a little bit. If you've ever been in Middletown, New York, BJ Coletti owns that school. And the advanced nogi and gi instructor there going forward 2 times a week is this gentleman right here. And for the camera, they're lucky to have him. And I'm proud of you, brother. Proud of you. Yeah. Hey, let's start where we were before. We just add a couple of different variations. I'll recapture really quick. So just pretty easy. The guy had put his hands on my biceps, and I was trying to elevate him in some manner, right? So let's work backwards. We didn't do this one the other day, but we'll add different sequences. So I realized, like, man, I can't get this guy up in the air, but there's an opportunity for me to pummel this hand inside, grab onto his wrist, and peel this, and this is the grip I have, right? And then we went through a bunch of different variations. But in this variation, he goes and counters me because my next move is hopefully to take this hand and pummel it through and then start coming to his back. But he puts his hand there on me, right? So then I told you we countered him back, right? And what I needed, there's a problem here because in the situation I just described before, this hand was going to advance to that drag, but he countered and he put his hand here, and then we worked a whole bunch of different counters off of this. So I take this hand and I loop it through really deep and I false grip this wrist on the forearm. That allows me to drop this grip, okay? And now we went through different cycles of this. We obviously can go through a reversal. We went through a reversal with the head, all depending on how he was backing out. But this time when we were here, it was here, put your hand. I took this hand out and I grabbed onto his hand. But as I fall back, I took my legs out and I threw a triangle up right away. Okay, so that's the move that we're gonna start right now. My first reaction is I don't want him posturing up. Okay, he's gonna put his hands together and now he's gonna posture up and you're gonna be like this, okay? So my first reaction upon this is to grab his skull. And now I could drop this hand. I know I got an issue going on with this frame. I'll address it later. So my first reaction is to cup the head, almost like a tie clinch. I don't need this hand now. So I take my other hand and take it out. But my next reaction is I haven't cinched up my legs. They're just sitting like this. So I reach up and I grab my ankle. Now I want to make myself as heavy as possible. I also have this leg that can pivot me because I need to change my angle. So I can either put it on the floor or put it on him, on his hip to change this angle. They're going to tell you a couple of things to do with this hand. They're either going to tell you to scoop this underneath, which is great because it gives you great leverage and you can squeeze this even tighter. Just be careful. They'll tell you to scoop under the leg, but sometimes that's not available. But just remember something. If he starts posturing up, scoop the leg because you're going to get an opportunity to reverse him and go to an arm bar, which we're not going to do today. But I also want one thing. If this was a live setting, the last thing I want to do is be picked up and slammed on my head. My very good friend is Dave Branch, and it happened to him in the UFC where the guy picked him up, and that's a cushioned mat. Imagine getting slammed on concrete on your skull because you were choking this guy out. So if Athan were to posture up, and I bring this leg up, and now I scoop this leg, and now he can't pick me up. You okay, kid? Right? And now I have the opportunity that even if he did, I still have this arm bar over this top. I can reverse him over and take him down again. So you're going to have hate. But going under the leg isn't always there because the guy's sitting low. So one more time, try your best to visualize it. It's really critical because that becomes read and reaction. Like, what was your read? How far did he back up? Was he running too far for me? Right? So we were here, put his hands on his bicep, I pummeled underneath. I do almost like a Russian, right? I'm just peeling his hand, I'm like this. He counters back and I go, oh boy, I can't advance my hand. So instead, I go deep with this hand. I'm looking almost to false grip his forearm. So I lace this through, and this is what I'm looking like. I'm trying not to let him run away. One of the reversals that we'll do afterwards will be grab his head. But in this scenario, I take my hand out and I grab onto his hand. And now as I fall back, I take my legs out. And now we throw this up. As soon as we throw it up, what we say? We don't want him posturing up. So I grab his head and I pull it down. Now I take my other hand and reach for my shin. This leg becomes a free leg, either to pivot on him, put it on the mat, but I turn my angle. This hand during the whole sequence was trying its best to underscoop this leg or this shoulder so that I make myself as heavy as possible. Remember, the more I'm like this, right? Besides the angle of the arteries, the more I'm like this, the better chance he has of picking me up, because the distribution on the weight is kind of linear right now. So if I can pivot myself as much as possible, besides the arteries and where we're sitting with the arteries, the more I can pivot myself, the more I make myself inefficient to him, and a lot of my body weight's under here. Also allows me to get deep under that knee, under that leg, in case he starts thinking about picking me up and slamming me. Also allows me, for some reason, he's not choking, gives me the opportunity to have this angle just to take this leg over and break it. I also have the opportunity that if I scoop the leg and I get so deep under as he's trying to defend and go vertical, it gives me the opportunity, if I had nothing else, it's easy for me to dump him back and now take the arm, or be top player that I can reverse and come back up on the other side and now attack from this side. So it gives you a lot of options. Let's part of him do it. I see people putting their hands like over his hand, like, dude, I don't want this thing to advance. Like, so my first reaction is, he wants to advance around me, okay? This is right, like, let's just put his hand out for 1 second, because everything matters to me. That's how I was shown the game. That's how John showed the game to Gordon. Everything matters. So if he has my hand like this, I'm putting my hand here. You know he wants to take this out. He wants to put his heels in the mat this way and suck himself around the corner, right? And now he changes the angle, right? So when I put my hand in here, I would like to be able to give him as much friction on his behind as possible. So why would I push down on his hands? I'm telling you to push down on this crease, because I want to be as tight down on him as possible. And that's why I do what I do, because I want to be here and I want to reset my head to this side. We just went over this on Wednesday. And I see people putting their hands all different places. I'm like, oh God, you're gonna get reverse dragged. Everything's gonna go wrong for you in 2 seconds, right? So I'm like this. And then later, you know why you're mirroring this? Is because I don't want him to advance. So I'm mirroring the bicep also. Like, I don't want this thing to advance. And then you're like this with your hand here. I see people putting their hands here. Like, this is just gonna go awful for you. What if he shrugs this and then latches up his hands like this, and now you wonder why he got reversed? And you're like, oh my God, this isn't what we practiced the other day at all. So listen, I forgive you if you weren't here, but if you were here, like, you should be practicing it too. The moment you're here like this, and he goes and peels, and I'm going, okay, I'm down, right? And now he realizes it too, so he counters back. He goes deep on this grip, and I go, oh boy. And now he's like, damn, like, I'm in a bad spot right now. And now he can, if his legs get tight on him, he can always slide this to my hip and use me as a tool to push me out and throw his legs up. And now I'm in a terrible spot now. But you got to drill it right, because you're wasting your opportunity as the top player of like not getting into the habit of not even I don't think about it. The moment somebody grabs my hand and starts, I'm like this. It just comes out. He said this great one time. He plays some kind of musical instrument. It looks like a guitar to me, but if you guys are Greek and you know yeah, there you go. So he had a great analogy in what you should be able to play whatever song he was playing one time when he showed me. He's really good at it. He was playing a song. You should be able to play that song as you're running out of a burning building helping others, and it's just coming out of you. And that's how you get so good at read and react. But if you're gonna constantly like this, put your hand here, put your hand here, put your hand, like, that's not where we're working, and then you're losing the opportunity to have this should just come out of you. You shouldn't even think of this. And now you're like this, and you're going right on the crease to push down, because I can't let him start sliding and swiveling, because at this point I'm trying to reset my head to this side so he doesn't come around. So there are two things I'm doing. I'm pushing him down and I'm resetting my head here so that I can deal with this grip. But he countered before. So try to paint a story in your head of how this is playing out. Because if I'm just showing you moves, you're never going to do them. And then that moment when those 4 inches start changing and it's a quarter-second read, you're going to be late every single time. And that's the difference between great, exceptional, world-class. And now you get to see it with Gordon and what he's doing on the main stage now. So you're like this. And now I come here, and he just realized, so he went deep on me. So now he's got an issue. So he releases on this and grabs my hand. And now he just pivoted right there, and I'm stuck. And I'm trying to pull out, and I'm pulling back out. He throws that triangle up on me. And now I'm like, oh, darn. This all went south on me right now. Okay, so have a visualization for top and bottom of what you're doing. Even though it's his turn, like, you should just have this habit, like, bam, just hitting that thing hard. Because when you hit it, it's almost like you're clubbing the back of the skull, like from a takedown. You're like, wham, you're hitting that thing hard. So let's partner up again, have a better storyline. Let's do it. Catch that crease here with that. You take this a lot of ways. Last week we were kicking out the outside leg to bring his posture down. We're doing a whole bunch of different combos. So let's go back 1 second, right? Athan, right now, I was like this, right? And then he peeled and went like this, and then I countered, and he went deep, and now we're like this. And I'm 2 reactions right now. One is he goes and tries to grab onto my hand, and I'm over here crowding the space going, oh no, you did this before, and you threw a triangle up. And I'm not going to allow you to throw that triangle up and take these legs out. So I jam forward so you can't get the legs out. That's not a big deal. You grab the back of the skull and we go to the reversal that we did the other day. So you're like this, right? And now I just realized you're trying to take your leg out. So I come forward so that you can't get that leg out. But now you counter with the back of the skull. And now I'm going to ask you, try your best to get me on top of you. I should feel like nothing to you, okay? So at this point when you counter, yeah. Exactly. He's pausing me. He could throw me any way he wants. Okay. The next time you're going to see it is when you're losing this grip. So grab his head and slide yourself underneath again. So you're like this. And I'm just saying, so you can just do one if you want. And if you got a good partner, maybe he gives you both reactions. You're like this, right? And you just realize, and I'm going, uh-oh. And I start pulling away because I'm about to pull this grip out. And as you grab my head, pull yourself back underneath. And now we're back again on the dump. So there are 2 times you're going to see it. One where he aggressively, you're starting to lose this false grip through the weave. So you go, no way, dude. And I grab the back of the skull. That also gives you the opportunity that you close the distance to go back in the drag that we started with last week, the first one. So now you got to go, okay, I can take this a lot of different ways. I'm the artist. You paint the picture the way you want. This is your canvas, okay? So 2 different ways. If the top partner's not sure, just jam forward. So we're going to imagine in our head, damn, I threw that triangle up last time. I keep catching this guy with this one. So now he jams forward on me so that I can't get my legs out. So no big deal. I grab the back of the head and dump him over. Some people might say to me, why didn't you just do move 2? Because I had an opportunity to finish him. I had an opportunity to put him to sleep. So I'd rather have that than the unknown of the reversal. The reversal's great, and everything's great about it. I could be top player, but there's an unknown once we get the reversal. Okay, so if I can finish a guy right there, let me take it. But this time he jams forward. So everything was exactly the same. I was like this. He goes and peels. I go heavy. And I realize, so all of a sudden he's about to drop this grip. And I'm going, no way. So I jam forward. So he grabs the back of the skull and he dumps me over. Perfect. Okay. But on the second one, same thing. If you got a good partner, go slow with it. I'm trying to run away from it. So in the beginning, when he was first like this, I'm like this. And he goes deep. And I'm trying to pull this out because I'm going, no, you don't really have anything yet. And I'm trying to set my head so he grabs the back of my skull. And now I'm like this, ready to try to pull this out. But he jams forward and he keeps my hand in the center pocket. I'm going over now. There's nothing I can do about it. Exactly. Okay? So I countered, and now we can play that off a lot of different combos next week. We'll kick out the back leg, like all different. Well, I started with this, and I'm not letting go. Okay, so let's part up and try those two.